Welcome to Rom Wills Money Matters. Your name is your brand. Your name is your brand. Now, that could be your given name, your government name, or it could be whatever name you want to use. Like a great example is on YouTube. A lot of people will use maybe a pen name, so to speak, or an avatar or some term. That's your brand. Understand that that's your brand. I'll use myself for an example. Rom Wills. Like no matter what, even like Rom Wills is on everything I do. Everything I do. Well, except for one thing. But even then, people know it's me. I ain't gonna get into that. But and that's more private. But everything public, my name is on it. Rom Wills, or Rom TV. All my channel, everything got my name on it. But see, the thing is, Rom Wills is a brand. It's a pretty good one, just two syllables, easy to say, but it's a brand and it represents something. Like if you notice on all my videos, regardless of the channel, I always use red letters. Part of that is part of psychologically, red catches your eye. Red catches your eye. Because I told the story before when I was selling some pamphlets. My first relationship pamphlet was for the ladies called Finding a Good Man. And I had the pamphlets in several colors. I would always sell out the red ones quickest, especially when the women have a choice. They wouldn't grab the blue one or the green one or anything, or orange one. They always grab the red one. So I said, okay. So, but that's part of my brand. That's part of my brand to have those lettering. And see, also, what do I talk about? I'm known for talking about more serious matters and everything. Yeah, I can joke around, but that's part of my brand too. My general brand is self-improvement, is motivating people, self-improvement, motivation, even with regard to relationships. I'm known for talking about that, but then that's part of the big picture. But that's my brand. And part of my brand is also to be realistic, to promote being realistic. But that's what I'm known for, but that's the brand. So when people say Rom Wills, it's like automatically, even if someone doesn't like me, say, okay, this is what he talks about. That's a brand. That's the name. That's why in some cases, if I were to use a pseudonym or something like that, I would trademark it. That's how powerful the name is. And you need to stick with that because it's a brand. It's a brand. See, I don't have to trademark Rom Wills. Nobody can use my name. you know. But if I were to say, Body Game Man, Mr. Body Game, I'd have to trademark that. And as an aside, people have talked to me about that. Unfortunately, some other people done had it, so I had to figure out a unique way to word it. But here's the thing, though. Here's the thing. It's very important. Like example, and I'm using myself as an example because I've seen it for myself. Like it's funny. Like every now and then I'll mention something about detractors or something, and they actually put money in my pocket every single time. That's like advertising. If you say, even if you say something negative, it's advertising. Every time somebody hear the name Ron Wills, the ones who've heard it, they say, "Oh yeah, he does that. He talk about that and stuff." Boom. It leads to potential money. For those who hadn't heard it, it's like, well, who's Ron Wills? They got to see what's up. There's advertising it. See, if you think about it, the best advertising is word of mouth. When someone tells you something. So even like using the detractors again, they basically telling someone about me if they mention my name, because they think they talking to it could be two people going back. I actually saw that, or somebody else's thing. Two people going back and forth about me. They're saying some negative stuff, but they ain't think how many people who saw it didn't react to it, like put a like or anything, but then said, "Let me check out Ron. I always make money." But that's the brand. So your brand needs to represent something. And every time it's like the perfect advertising thing. Like I remember years ago, when you wanted to copy something, if you work in an office, especially, office, you had to copy documents. We didn't generally say, at least back in the day, I haven't worked in an office in a while, long time. So I don't know if they still do it or what they say. And actually, I got an example of that. But years ago, people would say Xerox it. Oh, I got to Xerox this. The brand was associated with copying documents. So every time they said it, you immediately thought about copying. And then, if people maybe they needed a machine or something, they would go to Xerox. An example now that we have is Google. Think about it. Google's just a company. Google is a company. Overall, and yeah, they have YouTube and everything, but Google is a company that's primarily associated with a search engine. And when people want to search for something, what they say, oh, just Google it. Just Google it. People don't say just Yahoo it. People don't say just Bing it. People say Google it. It's become a part of it. So when they think about something, and then everything else that Google can get from that, traffic, people want to have ads, that helps the business. So, so that's the same thing. Like ultimately that'd be a point when somebody say associate something with your name. Like your name needs to be associated with your product. Your name or whatever company name you use, whatever pseudonym you use, it needs to be associated with your product. That's your brand. And you got to protect that brand. You got to protect that brand as best as possible. You don't want to do anything associated with that brand that goes against it. Like I use myself once again when there's a lot of times on my different channels, particularly on my main channel, people would ask me to talk about different things. But I say I don't talk about those things because it's not associated with my brand. And even if it was, well, you know what? I haven't really had anybody ask me anything that really went with the brand. Because usually if it goes with my brand, what I've talked about it already. Usually in those cases, I say, just search the archives. If I'm outside in the world, I say, just Google it. But that's the important thing. You in business, everything you say is important. Every time somebody call your name, that's an advertisement right there. And it represents something. Like I said, people think me, they're going to have a certain image. They're going to think, okay, he's this way. He talks about this thing. This is what he's good for. Because I remember, I'm going to tell you how powerful that is, just the experience and just what I present. I'll never forget, there was a content creator, I ain't going to call the young man's name, but he made a mistake of doing something that really annoyed me. I ain't going to tell what it is because somebody might hear and say, hey, let me do that to get on this nerve, but it did. Some people might even know if they follow my other channel. It's like one of 2 videos that I've deleted. The other one was going in on another young man. But, it's went against it so much. There were other content creators that got in the comments and say, Rom, this ain't you. This ain't you. Part of the reason I ended up deleting it, it took me a while too, but I said, hold up, I can't leave that up there. Because it goes against what people know me for. It goes against my brand. Seriously, I had some serious people even hit me up privately and say, hold up, Rom, this ain't you, man. If I had continued down that path, I could mess up my brand. That's why, I get some people. I've even had some content creators call themselves roasting me, and I ignore it because I said, ain't my brand, ain't my style. I'm more worried about the money. But always remember that your name is your brand. So that's all I have for today. Y'all know what the deal is. Your name is your brand, and let's go make that money.